China is one of the many nations providing international aid during this pandemic. Michael Szanto is an international relations expert and economist. He joins me to offer some insight in China's role. Michael, certainly many countries are involved in helping each other, but China, for the most part, has done the heavy lifting here. How is that help being seen around the world?
Well, it's complicated that the Chinese government recognizes the importance of public relations here. There were some mistakes made early. I think that, there's an opportunity. I think it's very important for the whole world to always work together on these type of epidemics and pandemics because viruses do not know borders and easily cross back and forth. So I think we all have to work together. And I think that China also recognizes it's important for public relations, as well as when you talk about Europe and the United States, those are China's two largest customers.
And Michael, the Trump administration has, of course, accepted all this help from China. But as recently as 4 days ago, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo was still referring to COVID-19 as Chinese or Wuhan virus. What does that say about this country, its position? What has it done in terms of international cooperation?
Well, I think it's kind of aberrational in the history of recent history in the United States. Every administration since President Nixon has recognized that a relationship with China was very important for strategic and economic reasons. And I think it's a very big mistake to engage in divisive rhetoric or engage in rhetoric that's inflammatory. And I think that calling it a Chinese virus is actually inflammatory and completely unnecessary. A lot of people are dying around the world as a result of this, and China's not free either yet. So this is a very dangerous situation. We have to work together here.
And despite the criticism that China has faced by some who say it's just trying to further its influence, its power, people like Jack Ma, a Chinese philanthropist, entrepreneur, the founder of Alibaba, I should say, they have sent boxes and boxes of masks and test kits to this country.
Yeah, and he, of course, reflects the very entrepreneurial nature of much of China and its business success. Right now, the United States is very threatened by this virus, but I think that, there will be another crisis where China needs the help of the United States. So we need to work together here. That is clear.
Oh, I got to ask you about a number of European governments who have complained about some of the kits that China has sent, saying they are defected, they are below standard. The countries in question, I'm going to mention just a few of them: Spain, Turkey, and the Netherlands. How is this going to play out in the weeks? Are there going to be a reluctance to accept this type of needed aid from China because of this?
That's a potential issue. And also in the rush to acquire testing equipment and ventilators, because we haven't seen a pandemic like this in 100 years, there are going to be quality issues. That's not just in China, but that's also in the United States. But historically, of course, in Europe and the United States, the medical technology is still more advanced for the most part overall. There are still bigger bio-life industries in the United States and in Europe, and Western Europe particularly, than China. So China's still kind of catching up. But there's always quality issues. We had some defective tests here in the United States for a while, too. It's difficult. But the main thing is that containment hasn't really worked. And there's some talk that that was because maybe it would have been better for wide adoption of cheap, lower than medical grade masks for the general public. That might be one thing that might help. But right now we have a lot of community spread of this virus in the United States and many countries in Europe, and it's a very dangerous situation. And we're stretching everyone's ability to make this equipment quickly.
That's a good point. All right, we'll leave it there. Michael Szanto joining us via Skype from Miami.